In the world of basketball, moments can define careers. Gilbert Arenas, April 4th, 2007, was one such moment. A seemingly insignificant game against the Charlotte Bobcats would become the turning point. It wasn't a high-stakes match or a crucial playoff game. No, it was a clash against a team that had long bid farewell to any postseason aspirations. The Wizards held a modest lead of 21-15 with just over 2 minutes remaining. Seemed routine, but not for long. Gerald Wallace on the baseline receives the pass, drives, and that's when the unexpected unfolded. Gilbert Arenas at that very moment didn't realize he was standing at the crossroads of his basketball career, or dare I say, his life. Now, let's rewind the clock to a time when Gilbert Arenas was more than just a player. He was a phenomenon. The fire, the skill, the charisma. He had it all, but as he rose to stardom, darkness loomed on the horizon. The journey. Drafted as a second-round pick out of Arizona by the Golden State Warriors, Arenas burst into the NBA scene. His rookie year showcased flashes of brilliance, but adversity struck, limiting him to just 47 games due to an injury. His brilliance wasn't as apparent, and his career started in relative obscurity. Yet, in a true testament to his resilience, Arenas bounced back the next season. He averaged 18.3 points and earned the prestigious Most Improved Player award. But little did we know that this unassuming star would lead to the creation of an offensive juggernaut. Fast forward to Washington, where he signed a groundbreaking 6-year, $60 million deal as a restricted free agent. Looking back, it's easy to see that Golden State's front office made one of the many questionable decisions of those years. The deal was so questionable that it led to the birth of the Gilbert Arenas rule in the NBA. This rule allowed a team like the Warriors to retain a player like Arenas, even if he wasn't their initial first-round draft pick. A rule born out of the regrettable decision to let this offensive powerhouse slip through their fingers. Arenas wasted no time making his mark in the Nationals' capital, dropping buckets like it was nobody's business. Agent Zero unleashed a 30-day stretch in 2006 that saw him putting up 50 points, not once, but 3 times. Imagine if prime James Harden stepped into a time machine and played in the 2000s. That's the kind of scoring prowess we're talking about. Even the late Kobe Bryant, a legend in his own right, acknowledged Arenas' scoring abilities. Kobe stated that he had no conscience after witnessing Gilbert drop 60 points against the Lakers. Unapologetically human. Now, in the world of professional sports, where image and PR often take center stage, Arenas was a refreshing breath of authenticity. Whether he was draining clutch shots or facing the media, Gilbert did it with unrivaled honesty. It's this fearless approach that earned him the respect of fans, even when the cameras were rolling and the stakes were high. In a league that sometimes forgets the human side of its stars, Arenas stood tall. He showed us that it's okay to be real, to show vulnerability, and to play the game with heart. But with greatness comes the unexpected. And this brings us to the play that sent shockwaves through the league and ultimately marked the beginning of the end for Arenas. In 2007, Gil was on top of the world. The Washington Wizards was one of the league's most lethal scoring machines, but it all went down in a seemingly unimportant game against the Charlotte Bobcats, a game that would become the turning point for Arenas' NBA career. The Wizards were leading 21-15 with just 2 minutes left. Gerald Wallace made a drive to the basket. The seemingly routine play would have far-reaching consequences. Wallace fell into Arenas' leg, and the 3-time All-Star tore his meniscus on that fateful night. A moment that marked the beginning of the end for the dynamic guard. Players like Russell Westbrook had returned to their prime after a torn meniscus. However, Arenas faced a unique challenge, a rushed rehabilitation process fueled by an unrelenting desire to compete. Arenas' journey through rehab and re-injuries felt like an eternity, casting a shadow over the electrifying player we once knew. He had a brief return at the beginning and end of the next season after the initial meniscus tear. However, it was evident that he was a mere shadow of his former self. A scrappy Washington team, led by Karen Butler and Antoine Jamison, battled in the playoffs, but they fell short against the Cavaliers in 6 games. The aftermath was a series of peaks and valleys for Arenas. He signed a monumental contract, setting the stage for the next chapters of his career. And well, as the saying goes, the rest is history. 2 games into the next season, he struggled in the subsequent year, and the infamous locker room incident cut short his season in December. The once mighty Gilbert Arenas was eventually traded halfway through the following season for Rashard Lewis. Regrets. In an interview, Arenas admitted that he was too confident and stubborn to heed the advice of doctors and trainers. His belief that work ethic and talent could conquer any obstacle led him down a perilous path. Gilbert confessed, I was arrogant to the point where I thought I can do anything. He revealed a haunting truth about not fully appreciating the magnitude of playing in the NBA, a privilege he took for granted. Gil didn't grasp the difficulty of reaching the pinnacle of the sport, and even more challenging, staying there. He added, I didn't understand how lucky I was. I didn't understand how hard it is to get here and how hard it is to stay here. Regret dripped from his words as he expressed a profound wish to turn back time. He yearned to dedicate more time to honing his craft, and caring for his body. Agent Zero also confesses that he has had nightmares about the untapped potential that slipped away due to his lack of caution and responsibility. Now, the impact of his initial injury was profound, denting Washington's playoff aspirations in 2007 and 2008. Even if he had maintained his stellar performance into 2009, the absence of key players and a lackluster bench could have still hindered deep playoff runs. By 2010, at the age of 28, an age when players approached the peak of their careers, the landscape had changed. The attempt at a win-now strategy in Washington faced hurdles, and Arenas, despite being very good, might not have been the best player to build a team around. How good was Gilbert Arenas? In his prime, Arenas soared to the pinnacle of scoring excellence. The 2005-06 season saw him at his absolute best, putting up a career-best 29.3 points per game. To put that in perspective, only 3 players, LeBron James, Allen Iverson, and Kobe Bryant, averaged more points than him that season. The following year, he continued his scoring spree, averaging 28.4 points per game and earning his highest finish in MVP voting at 8th. But numbers alone can't capture the essence of Gilbert Arenas. The 2006-07 season was a highlight reel of unforgettable moments. On December 17, 2006, he set a record by scoring 60 points in an overtime win against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers. It was a career high and a franchise record. Notably, he scored 16 points in overtime, setting an NBA record that held for a decade. A month later, Arenas added another masterpiece to his collection. He exploded for 51 points and sealed the victory with a game-winning three-pointer against the Jazz. And let's not forget about the 54-point game sandwiched between these performances. The late-game heroics became a trademark of Agent Zero's play, earning him a spot among the most clutch players in NBA history. According to Basketball Reference, Arenas made 5 game-winning buzzer beaters in his career. This feat places him among the greats like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade. What makes this even more impressive is that all 5 of these buzzer beaters occurred within 3 years. Now, let's speculate about what Gilbert's career numbers might have looked like if injuries hadn't changed his path. Averaging around 26 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 7 assists, with shooting percentages of 47.4% from the field, 39.5% from beyond the arc, and 84% from the free throw line. These hypothetical stats paint a picture of a player who would have been a force to be reckoned with, not just in his era, but in the modern NBA as well. A white-hot flame that extinguished as fast as it started. Gilbert Arenas left behind a void that goes beyond the numbers on a stat sheet, because he was always himself in a world where public figures often wear masks. Arenas stood out for being unapologetically real. Gilbert Arenas showed us something profound. He, like all of us, is human. In embracing his humanity, flaws and all, he shattered the illusion of invincibility that often surrounds athletes. Gil was an accessible athlete in an era where the distance between fans and stars seemed vast. He became a mirror reflecting the complexities of life. He reminded us that even in success and failure, we are navigating this human experience together. It's evident that he was a player ahead of his time, a maestro whose scoring prowess and unique style would seamlessly fit into today's NBA landscape. And speaking of legends of the game, our next video is a must-watch, returning our attention to NBA legends and players who were scared of none other than the iconic Larry Bird. Trust me, you won't want to miss the tales of fear and respect that surround one of the greatest players to ever grace the court. So, without further ado, hit play on the next video and let's continue celebrating the legends that define the beautiful game of basketball. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and keep the basketball spirit alive. Thanks for watching.